The twilight of our once perfect life came crashing down like a long-forgotten elegy. I never imagined that the sun would set on my marriage with such a tumultuous fury, its dying rays exposing every hidden crack in the foundation of our dreams. For 15 years, I had built a life with Olivia Walker, a life that, to my naive eyes, shimmered with hope and promise beneath the gentle glow of suburban Austin, Texas. Our neighborhood was a mosaic of friendly smiles, familiar doorsteps, and endless evenings filled with the aroma of backyard barbecues and the soft murmur of shared laughter. I still remember the early days when every touch and whispered secret between Olivia and me carried the magic of a fairy tale. Our first kiss beneath a canopy of oak trees, the way the golden light of a late summer afternoon danced in her eyes, and the countless promises made over cups of coffee in a little diner off Congress Avenue, all these memories were once the pillars of our love. Yet, beneath the surface, a slow, imperceptible change had begun to weave a tapestry of deceit. Olivia had always been a woman of quiet strength and fierce independence. Employed as an executive assistant at a prestigious multinational firm in New York, she carried herself with an elegance that belied the storms she weathered daily. I took pride in her achievements, believing that our bond was unbreakable. But like the fragile petals of a rose in autumn, the truth began to wither away the beauty of our shared past. The day the truth revealed itself, I was sitting alone in our modest study, the ticking of the antique clock on the wall echoing my solitude. An email arrived with a subject as stark as a winter morning: "You deserve to know the truth." My heart, accustomed to the gentle rhythm of our daily life, skipped a beat. Initially, I dismissed it as mere digital detritus, an unsolicited note lost in the chaos of cyberspace. Yet, an inexplicable force pulled me toward its contents. As I opened the message, the screen's cold light painted my face in shades of despair. The email was succinct, almost clinical in its delivery. "Your wife is not the woman you think she is. My husband has been sleeping with her for months. I have proof. If you want to see it, reply." My trembling fingers hesitated over the keyboard as I typed a single, desperate word: "Who?" The response was swift and merciless. 3 video files arrived, each one a shard of a shattered dream. I watched, heart pounding, as the grainy images unfolded a forbidden ballet in a dimly lit hotel room. There, behind the veil of secrecy, Olivia and Blake Montgomery, the very man who exuded an effortless charisma with his chiseled features and velvety British accent, were entwined in a dance of betrayal. Their laughter, soft yet filled with unrepentant pleasure, echoed like ghostly reminders of vows once made. The second video, set in the opulent confines of Blake's executive office with its imposing mahogany desk and panoramic windows revealing a dusk soaked in melancholy, sealed my fate. Each frame was a brushstroke painting the portrait of a love betrayed. I dared not watch the third video, its existence alone was a dagger aimed straight at my heart. In the midst of that shattering night, as the rain began its soft patter against the windowpane, another message arrived, this one bearing the name of Madison Montgomery, Blake's wife. Her words, laced with both sorrow and a steely resolve, explained that she had long suspected the perfidy hidden behind closed doors. "My private investigator has gathered evidence," she confessed, "and it appears your Olivia's betrayal has stretched far beyond what I ever feared. At least 6 months of deception, perhaps even longer." Her message was a bitter tonic, both a confession and an accusation. I spent hours staring blankly at the screen, the evidence of our crumbling life laid bare before me. Each red flag, those late evenings when Olivia's laughter was absent, the hushed phone calls that ended abruptly, the subtle shift in her gaze, replayed in my mind like a relentless dirge. With a heavy heart and numb fingers, I replied, "Send me everything." And so, more fragments of our lost love arrived, photos capturing clandestine moments, screenshots of heated exchanges, and more videos that documented the slow disintegration of trust. One particular exchange cut through me like a shard of broken glass. "Olivia, I can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing. Blake, I'll book the same hotel this Friday. Wear that dress I love. Olivia, only if you promise to take it off me. The digital words, as cold as the winter wind, confirmed that the life I had cherished was nothing more than an illusion. That same night, when Olivia returned home as if the weight of her secret were but a fleeting shadow, she greeted me with a kiss, one that, in another life, might have been filled with love. "Are you okay?" she asked, genuine concern lacing her tone. I managed only a hollow smile, replying, "Just a long day at work." Yet inside, a tempest raged, a tumult of grief, anger, and the raw, unhealed scars of betrayal. The very next morning, over a breakfast that felt more like a rehearsed performance than a shared meal, Olivia mentioned a conference in New York, a conference that, now knew, was a pretext for another clandestine meeting with Blake. I nodded, offering to book her flight, even as every fiber of my being conspired to hold on to the evidence that would one day shatter her world completely. My quest for justice led me to a small, dimly lit cafe in downtown Austin, a sanctuary from the storm raging within me. There, I met Madison Montgomery. The cafe's warm light, the gentle murmur of conversations, and the faint scent of rain-dampened pavement outside provided an ironic contrast to the cold truth we were about to confront. Madison sat with an elegance that belied the agony behind her eyes. As she slid a worn leather folder across the table, the weight of her silent determination pressed upon me. "Everything you need is here," she whispered, her voice a blend of regret and defiance. Inside, the folder contained not only visual evidence but also documents that revealed another sin, financial irregularities, with Blake siphoning company funds to finance his forbidden indulgences. "I plan to use this in court," she stated, "so that justice may not only be served but that you may reclaim what is rightfully yours." In that moment, I felt both a profound sorrow and a rising, fierce determination, a resolve to ensure that Olivia's betrayal would cost her dearly. In the days that followed, I sought the counsel of Caleb Reynolds, a lawyer whose reputation for dismantling deceitful facades was as legendary as it was ruthless. His office, lined with books and certificates of hard-won battles, became the stage upon which my final act of retribution would unfold. Caleb's eyes, sharp and unyielding, scanned the evidence with a practiced detachment. "This is irrefutable," he said, his tone leaving no room for doubt. "The court will see this for the blatant betrayal that it is." I made my intentions clear in that moment. I want full custody of Aiden and Chloe, and I want Olivia to be left with nothing. Caleb's nod was the silent echo of the justice I so desperately sought. Yet, even as the legal gears began to grind into motion, the days leading up to the final confrontation were a twisted masquerade of normalcy. Every shared glance at home, every meal in the dining room, became a stage for a performance laden with hidden sorrow. I carried my grief like a well-guarded secret beneath a calm exterior, while every night, in the solitude of our once-shared bed, I lay awake listening to the silence, a silence that screamed of lost promises. The final act began on the morning Olivia was to leave for New York. At the bustling airport, beneath the harsh fluorescent lights and the hum of departing flights, I accompanied her to the gate. In that charged moment, as I pressed a farewell kiss to her cheek, every stolen moment of our shared past flashed before my eyes. "Have a good trip," I murmured, my voice a delicate balance of feigned warmth and the cold resolve of a man betrayed. As she disappeared into the crowd, the weight of the impending finality pressed down on me. I immediately called Caleb, his voice on the line a signal to the finality of our plan. "It's time." Within hours, as Olivia landed in New York for what she believed was a business conference, a stack of divorce papers awaited her at the luxury hotel, a cruel and unexpected twist in a narrative she had long scripted in secrecy. Her frantic calls, laced with confusion and denial, were met with a silence that was as final as it was unyielding. In a final act of ruthlessness, I forwarded the damning videos to her, ensuring that there was no escape from the truth. When the inevitable confrontation came, it was not in a blaze of angry words but in the cold, measured tone of irreversible consequence. One evening, as Olivia returned home, a woman whose once bright eyes were now clouded with regret and despair, she attempted to bridge the chasm with pleading words. "Mike, Please, we need to talk, she begged, her voice trembling as if every syllable was an admission of guilt. I remained seated, my arms folded in a silent testimony to the betrayal that had scarred us both. Talk. I echoed bitterly. Now you want to talk. Her voice cracked as she tried to explain, I made a mistake. I love you, I love our family. Please, don't do this. But the words, as sweet as they once were, rang hollow in the vast emptiness that now separated us. You threw this marriage away the moment you chose another life, I replied, each word laced with the sorrow of a trust forever broken. The courtroom soon became the arena where our fates were sealed. The evidence, videos, texts, receipts, and photographs, spoke a language of betrayal that left no room for ambiguity. The custody hearing was a heartbreaking display of lost innocence. Aiden, with his 14-year-old solemnity, declared with quiet, raw honesty, I never want to see Mom again. Little Chloe, her eyes shimmering with a mix of sorrow and understanding beyond her years, whispered, Daddy, I'm glad we're together. Their words, fragile yet resolute, swayed the scales of justice. The judge, confronted with the undeniable truth, granted me full custody, leaving Olivia with nothing but the ashes of a broken promise. In the months that followed, the ruins of our former life stood as silent witnesses to the choices we had made. Olivia, stripped of her dignity and left without support, was forced to leave behind the home that once echoed with laughter and shared dreams. She moved into a cramped apartment in a part of the city where the sunlight barely penetrated the heavy clouds of regret. Her desperate calls for reconciliation were met with a silence that was as unwavering as it was sorrowful. Blake Montgomery, the man who had once exuded power and charm, found his empire crumbling. Fired from his post and disgraced in the eyes of those who once admired him, he vanished into obscurity, a ghost of ambition lost. Meanwhile, Madison Montgomery, with her quiet dignity and resilient spirit, began to rebuild the shattered fragments of her own life. In the midst of this chaos, the bitter irony was palpable, while two lives unraveled through deceit, those left behind began to heal in ways both unexpected and profound. In the long, silent nights that followed, I found solace in the simple rhythms of life. The relentless ticking of the clock, once a reminder of every passing moment of betrayal, transformed into a metronome guiding my gradual healing. I began to take long walks through the city's quiet streets at dawn, the cool air whispering secrets of renewal and hope. Each step was a silent ode to the life I had lost, and the new life I was determined to build. The house that once rang with the cacophony of shattered dreams slowly embraced a new kind of silence, a silence that, over time, became filled with the gentle laughter of my children. Aiden, with his mature, introspective eyes, wrestled with the memories of his mother's betrayal, while little Chloe found comfort in the warmth of our shared moments, her questions and quiet musings serving as gentle reminders of the resilience of the human heart. One evening, as the golden hues of a setting sun bathed our porch in a tender glow, I watched Aiden and Chloe playing in the yard. Their laughter, soft and sincere, was a melody of hope amid the remnants of our past. In that moment, a quiet revelation settled within me, a recognition that even in the deepest wounds there lies the potential for rebirth. My heart, though scarred, beat with a newfound resolve. The pain of betrayal was not an end, but a beginning of a journey towards rediscovery and renewal. In the reflective solitude of my study, where memories of happier times mingled with the bittersweet taste of regret, I began to write. Each word was a release, a cathartic flow of emotions that transformed my sorrow into art. I penned letters to the past and poems for the future, each line a tribute to the resilience of a soul that had been broken yet not defeated. I realized that forgiveness, in its truest form, was not a pardon for the sins of others but a gentle liberation for oneself. Forgiving Olivia did not mean erasing the betrayal, but it allowed me to reclaim the dignity that had been so ruthlessly stolen. As I sipped a cup of midnight tea and gazed out at the starlit sky, I whispered a silent farewell to the life that had been, a life filled with beauty, betrayal, and ultimately, rebirth. The journey was far from over. Every sunrise promised new challenges and opportunities, each day a canvas waiting for the strokes of hope and determination. In the symphony of life, the discordant notes of betrayal had given way to a haunting yet beautiful melody, a reminder that even the most painful endings can sow the seeds of a luminous, unexpected beginning. And so, beneath the endless expanse of a Texas sky, I vowed to honor the lessons of the past while embracing the promise of tomorrow. The love that once bound us was shattered, but in its fragmented pieces, I discovered the strength to build a new mosaic of life, a mosaic where every shard, however jagged, contributed to the beauty of a story reborn. In that quiet, resolute moment, I understood that while Olivia's choices had scarred our family, they could never diminish the enduring light of hope that shone in the eyes of my children and in the depths of my soul. The pain was real, the loss profound, but in that very pain lay the power to rise, to rebuild, and ultimately, to find peace in the afterglow of a long, sorrowful night. Thus, as the final chords of that tragic symphony faded into the stillness of a new dawn, I stepped forward into a future that, though uncertain, held the promise of healing and the gentle whisper of redemption.